I'm Bear McKinnon from Umlaut, and we've got an album coming out this month. I think it's the 21st or somewhere around there. Yeah, we're a Melbourne band that's kind of like been on again, off again for several years. And yeah, we have kind of a nice little shiny album we're releasing this month called Desole, which admittedly is kind of a terrible name for an album. But I'm gonna blame that on my guitarist, who I just decided let me. He's like, I don't know. It was the name of one of the songs. It's French for sorry.
Yeah.
Kind of a pathetic thing. Um, but I was sort of thinking that, it's weird how these things come up where it's like in the aftermath of these of all this kind of shit show that's going on from my country of origin. It sort of fits. It's kind of like this cringy thing that Americans are sort of feeling. We're sort of like, sorry. Anyway, I mean, not to get too deep into that, but it sort of fits. But it's actually the name of one of the songs that has been that I've actually renamed since to STFU, which I think speaks for itself.
Yes, you did. All right, Brad, thanks for
Yeah,
joining us today, mate. She's a pleasure to have you on the show.
thanks, man.
No worries. Now I'll be the last person to correct anyone on anything because I fuck up all the time. But I'm pretty sure that album Desole is coming out on the 25th of July from my information.
Okay, that sounds right. Yeah, it
That'll
was it
do.
was like the 21st to 25th. I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know. I'm so kind of outside of this, like, yeah. And again, this thing has been so kind of delayed, and it's a long time coming. Like, this album that yeah, on some levels I don't even believe that it's going to come out. I'm hoping that it does, but
That's why I gave
anything can
myself 4 days
happen.
grace just in case.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But the album Desole is out July 25th. See, now you got me doing it. So can you tell us a bit more
Sorry.
from a musical point of view and what you're going for with it?
I don't know. I mean, I guess because the band has been in the past very kind of like instrumental and kind of like sort of a chamber pop instrumental sort of affair with, some sung songs thrown in there, songs with vocals. This album is pretty kind of vocal heavy, I guess, in a way. It's sort of driven. It's kind of straight ahead in a lot of ways. And I was, it's funny, I get these questions like, what is different about this album? And I'm not really sure. The main difference with this album is that it's got the legendary Danny Heifitz on drums from Mr. Bungle. You know, the true the true DNA of Mr. Bungle there, rhythm section. And he's down here in this town with us, and has sort of graced us with his drumming on this album. And so we're really excited about that. People hearing that, and I think people will hear that kind of that Mr. Bungle sort of DNA in the drums there when they hear Danny doing his thing. It's just kind of a very straight ahead. It doesn't mess around. It's not trying to be clever. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel. Um, and a lot of the songs that ended up on this album were things that we were sort of bringing into our live set over the past couple of years, just trying to, I guess, to my mind, I was thinking of like stuff that just kind of had higher energy, and instead of like introspective, um, navel gazing kind of instrumental stuff, which a lot of the semi-recent kind of umlaut stuff has sort of been that. It's funny because, like, so if I'm looking at it in a really black and white way, I could go like, yeah, I was thinking, I sort of hear my thoughts saying things like, we got tired of boring people with chamber pop, and when they're out there just wanting to have a good time at the pub or the venue or whatever, and then we're sort of like delivering on that in a way, and it's just having fun. I think it's like some of these songs are really kind of pop rock heavy, and then that sounds kind of gross to just put it in that category, but that's just me sort of trying to be honest with it. And there's something really funny insofar as like me doing vocals like in a frontman kind of role, like in front of Danny, who
True.
I've never really kind of done that. And I was like, it's funny because the first times we had him playing with us, it was really cringy where I was just like going like, oh man, this is so embarrassing. Like Danny, has to listen to me like singing my heart out, and kind of belting these songs out, as best I could. And it was just like it was just kind of like a moment that I had at some point where I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Like Danny's sitting here, doing his Danny thing with the straight face, kind of not giving anything away of what he's thinking about it or whatever. And he's very forgiving and he's very, yeah. It was just kind of one of those moments where it's just like, I'm trying to think of like what is a sort of an analog of that where it'd be sort of like I don't know. It's just like somebody knows you doing a certain thing, whether it's just me sort of playing saxophone or doing whatever with Mr. Bungle or even Secret Chiefs back in the day. And then suddenly I'm just like, just getting on a microphone. It's just like and I got over it pretty quickly. And I also like to steer into awkwardness to a point too, so it's like I don't really care. And I'm just sort of, that's a good thing about being in your 50s. You stop giving a shit about this kind of stuff and you just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've released the singles STFU and Happy Now. Like at this stage, I'd normally ask if they're a sonic representation of the album, but with your music, it'd be fucking impossible to release songs that are a sonic representation of the album.
Well, no, I don't know. Very sweet of you, but I think they are kind of like a representation of what people are kind of getting. I would not have probably released STFU this early because it's a little bit of a serious song or kind of a bummer or so. I don't know. It's weird. Like when that song, I don't know if you heard it yet or anything, but like something like the Alan Parsons Project, like All by Myself, like something like that is such an epic song, but it's just very, very kind of slow and AM kind of like radio, just depression, just like, oh my God, this is so depressing, as beautiful as it is. So that's kind of what we were going for, or I was going for with STFU. But because again, it's with all these things when releasing singles, and even like Bite Your Tongue was released, I don't know, a couple of years ago or something. Then Every Time was released last year or something like that, or maybe two. I don't know. I probably got the years mixed up, but it's like Bite Your Tongue would have been a good lead off single if it was just like to kick the door open and go like, here we go, here we come, da da da. And it's got a lot of energy. It's pretty catchy, and it's sort of the I feel like it's a good first thing out of the gate. So again, I don't really understand the whole strategy with these things of releasing singles, and then I always feel like, why are we doing this? I feel like I'd rather just release them all at once so people can get it in one, but I don't know. It's who's to say? It's like I've not been doing music to get rich or anything, and or if I have, it's an utter failure.
The first thing you'd buy is a light shade, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm saving up for a light shade. No, it's funny. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I can't claim to understand like any good strategies of marketing or this or that. I could say like, oh yeah, this one's pretty catchy. Maybe this or I don't know. It's just, and plus I'm not going back really and looking at analytics or comments or any of these kinds of things ever. So, so I have no idea. I mean, I'm just sort of just trusting other people to go like, okay, here's this song, that off we go. But yeah, I think Angus was commenting about the STFU and some of the people's like responses or whatever to it, that he was sort of, I don't know if he was underwhelmed or just kind of like, and I'm going like, man, I can't let that stuff in. I'm like, the good or the bad. It's just like, it's because it's all wrong. It's not all wrong, but it's like it's correct, but I don't
it's
really
irrelevant, really. It's irrelevant.
Well, yeah, it's kind of that thing. It's like it's a bit of a funny thing, even doing these interviews where yeah, it's just kind of like, because people will decide what they think or how they feel about a thing, and they're correct in the way whether if they don't, whether if they respond to it or not, or they're like, yeah, this is trash or it's brilliant. It's up to who, what the listener feels with a thing. So once you've made a thing, it's out of your hands. It's like dropping your kid off on to the first day of school or something. You want to give them the best shot, and you want to hope that they have some kind of sense of self-esteem or something. But you're not going to. I don't know. There's plenty of times I've done stuff and I'm like, this isn't my best stuff, or this is kind of weak, or the next thing is going to be better, or this or that. And it just it's not for me to say, really. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get a laugh out of this, bro. Because honestly, I'd never heard your music before this interview, but I put on the
Okay.
album. I put on the album first to have a listen because that's what I do. And
Oh wow.
I had my headphones on because the kids are here, and I'm getting through about the first couple of songs, and I've messaged my mate who's right into you guys, and I'm going, pretty weird this stuff, isn't it? And he's going, yeah, mate, it's supposed to be weird. I'm like, right, yeah, and I kept going with it. And then I took the earphones out for some reason, and it sounded great. It's like there's a little slight glitch in the earphones that I didn't realize was there, and it was making it a little bit stuttery and a little bit.
Oh shit!
And that's what I was thinking was the weird parts of it. I'm like, is it supposed to be like that? And then I took them off, and it's like,
oh, that's funny. So you thought that was intentional or something?
Part of the music because I'd never heard it before. I thought that might actually be the way because it was only a little piece out, but it was.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, like that thing with like the jack of the thing, and then it sort of it's like it sounds. Yeah, well, it's funny because and then also with having been associated with or being associated with Mr. Bungle, it's like people are sort of kind of can sort of be expecting anything. I think on some level, especially after what sort of Disco Volante and things were like that, where it's just like going like, what the hell? And then it's just like, and then you realize like, oh, this is intentional, kind of messing with the listener or confounding expectations. So that's funny, and it sounds like you were probably like, yeah, this would be what these some guys from this kind of
exactly
like.
What I was thinking. I'm thinking it's a little bit weird, and I'm not sure if I like it or not. And that's why I messaged my mate about it when I got it. When I got out properly, it was really fucking good.
Oh, cool. Thanks. So, yeah. I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And then on some level, like, I'll just say it really quickly. And maybe I've said this before, so I apologize. People have to listen to me repeat my stories like I'm like a broken record. But it's like I have friends at work. Sometimes we'll be working, and then they'll look at me, and then whether it's like a. And then, or I had this one coworker, and he's like, all you have to do is just write a hit song, and it's all good. You're just good to go. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. You just write a hit song. And so, but with a couple of these on this album, I sort of thought like, yeah, we'll just kind of like, and not that I'm going into it thinking that. I'm thinking it's more like a kind of an afterthought where I'm going like, oh, this actually sounds like a hit song or something that could be in an alternate universe or something. So it's kind of fun to just steer directly towards that and just kind of just see what can come out. But whether or not it's the full. It's going to be the thing that we go towards on a full-time basis. I kind of doubt, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see how we go. But it's kind of funny because like knowing like what a little bit of what I'm looking at heavy, and kind of like, are you sort of a metal kind of like?
Yeah.
So it's just like I realize like on some level people would be like, yeah, this isn't metal, so what are we wasting our time here for or something, even though I do appreciate metal, and it's and probably more of a fan of it than some other people in the band. Not my bass player probably, but yeah, so it's just kind of funny, and like I'm constantly trying to get Angus to kind of like smash that distortion pedal or whatever, and then he's just like, I don't know, he's going for some other sound sometimes, but yeah, it's I don't know. I guess on some level I'm aware that like it's not going to be for everybody, this particular thing, but it does kind of have a lot of stuff in there that could maybe appeal to people. But I don't know. Shit, I don't have any illusions that it's gonna do great things or anything necessarily. I'm kind of what is the word? Cautiously optimistic, but I'm just lucky to be able to still do it or be able-bodied enough to sort of do this still. So that's on it goes.
Yeah, I'll put it this way, bro. Like now, I'm going to go. I want to go back and listen to it again after I've spoken to you. And like now, I've got to know you a little bit more, and I know a bit more about it. Particularly, I want to listen to it again because I enjoyed it the first time, but
yeah, cool,
different experience. I think listen to it again when you know about the band. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So
awesome.
Got that from me, and I'm a metalhead, so you've done something right.
Good on you, man. Thanks.
Cool. You mentioned Danny coming back into the band, bro. Like you haven't actually been with him since Californication by Mr. Bungle in 2000. So what was it like getting back together again creatively? Like you just slipped straight back into a groove, or did you have to work on it after so long?
Well, it's funny because Danny has lived here almost as long as I have, not in Melbourne, but I mean like, in Australia. And I could have used him, I could have used him a long time ago as far as getting involved in music, just even if just doing it by correspondence. But I don't know. I've kind of wanted to leave him alone and just kind of let him do what he's doing in his own life, up there. And then by the time he got down here, it just became this kind of like he's so good, and he really is my like one of my all-time favorite drummers. And then I and it's just kind of this thing where you get to play with the guy, and he's so good, and he makes the music feel so good that it just becomes a no-brainer where you're like, yeah, we got to do this, man. We got to just get him in here and get him on these recordings, because he's a very thoughtful musician, and he loves to get in the arranging side of things, and he makes the music definitely less boring and less predictable in a lot of ways. And it's just he's got such a great feel. Um, but I haven't really worked with Danny insofar as like as a band leader in a band leader kind of like role to where I'm like telling him what to do or how to do a thing or whatever. So, but it is just like coming home in a lot of ways, and it's just he has such a great feel that it was really easy, and he made all the music that much easier, and his attention to detail and his thoughtful kind of like choices. It's just like, yeah, it's not like you're dealing with somebody that you don't, some younger musician that you don't really know or whatever. It's like he kind of gets it very quickly, and he's also one of these guys that saves his energy for like the live performances, where you're just sometimes you might be like, man, I need you to hit it harder or this or that, and then by the time you get to the gig, he's smashing the shit out of it and he's just going for gold, and you're just like, this he's like one of these, he's like a pro baseball player that just like slacks off in the practice, where you're like, shit, I hope he comes through for us in the game, and then he does. You're
Yeah,
just like, yeah, this guy, like, he knows
good
when to
deal. Yeah.
like turn it on. And so it's been like a real homecoming kind of feeling with this guy. And we're not like, it's not lost on us how lucky we are to kind of have this guy playing with us right now. But he's also like a cat. I don't want to scare him away, and
Well, you
and
got
I don't
nine
want
lives, Fizzy Cat. You got nine chances.
to. I guess, yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but it's like there's a thing where I don't want to. I have so much respect for him that I kind of like, I don't come
Yeah.
I don't come in too hot with him. I kind of try to kind of ease into things, and I try to gently kind of like persuade him and maneuver him that way. But so far so good.
Nice. So, especially now with him in the band, like, do you consider like Umlaut an extension or the next chapter of Mr. Bungle, or is it its own beast completely?
Well, it is its own beast in a lot of ways, but absolutely any of the songs that you hear Umlaut playing, like in my perfect world, I would steer them over towards the Bungle world, and then and have them go through that sort of like that channel. So, and it's funny, and I've had a few people tell me like, oh, this actually sounds more like what Bungle left off kind of doing with California and these kinds of things than the bunny Bungle that comes out and does the thrash metal of Raging Wrath kind of thing. So that, like, and so it's an interesting thing. Like, I'm not sure if it's like, if there's like this subconscious thing of me trying to do music that in a kind of Mr. Bungle sort of way, which I don't really think is the case. But I've been definitely influenced by those guys. Those I was always like pinching myself when I was with that outfit, going like, these are the most talented like natural musicians I've ever played with. And then Mike Patton, it's just like it's just like that
My pack.
voice. Like, I remember one time during the Disco Volante era, he walked into a room and just said my name, and I nearly, but he said it with that kind of without like a bear, and it was just like, and of course that doesn't really convey the power, but it was like literally just like made me jump out of my seat, because he had such power with that voice. I think, yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah, well, in some ways, I'm trying to do stuff that I wish that band were doing right now with Umla. I'm kind of like, or the things that, you know what I mean. It's maybe that conveys the whole idea there, but yeah, even that very first Umla album, back in 2009, I think it was. I was like, in a perfect world with everything going just the way I want it, or would hope for it, it would like, those would have been on that next Mr. Bungle proper sort of album. Some of my better ideas off of that first Umlaut thing. So yeah, my heart is still kind of like trying to create things that might be worthy of like the Mr. Bungle world. But until I can kind of really, you know, manipulate or persuade that thing to happen, we're doing it in Umlaut.
Yeah, nice, nice. Now,
Yeah.
in that sound, like it mixes jazz, there's pop, there's avant-garde metal, there's electronics. Basically, whatever the fuck you feel like doing at the time goes into your music. But how hard is it to get any form of balance at all in the creative process with so much going on?
I don't know. I guess it's well, we've got Angus the guitarist is a very has a very strong kind of like production kind of like sense. And so, and also we're always with my music, with my songwriting and whatever, or certainly with the hooks and whatever. I always say I'm always crapping on to Angus, whether it's the mix or the whatever. I'm always saying like addition by subtraction, and so it's like the idea of whatever doesn't work, just get it the fuck out of there. It's like, and
Mhm.
letting the music breathe. Like I think I still struggle sometimes to let the music breathe, or kind of like let some space happen in there where it's not just trying to do some lick at the end of a phrase or a fill at the end of a phrase or whatever. It's just kind of like making it more sort of minimalistic on some levels. I don't know. It's like, because in a lot of ways, this I don't really feel like this album is too much of a stretch, like genre wise. I think it's not. It doesn't. It kind of shifts gears a little bit, but not too much. It's not too much. Kind of. It's not. The songs aren't necessarily as schizophrenic as other things that we've done in the past. Maybe on some levels where it's just like, a hard left turn, and then the listener's just like, wait, what? What was I just listening to? It's like these are kind of more just like unapologetic, straight down the middle. Like, okay, here's this kind of rock sort of song happening, and maybe there'll be some nice little elements thrown in there. Um, how hard is it? I don't know. I guess like yeah, it's not really that hard because we do sort of it's definitely a democratic kind of situation where it's like if something isn't working, people will speak up.
Yeah.
They're not just like I'm not they're not just sort of listening to me as a dictator and going like, no, this is what he wrote, this is what he wants, so this is how it has to be. It's like if something doesn't seem to work, and we sniff it out pretty quickly, and then we sort of tamp it down or change a thing or do a different thing or even just throw a thing away. Like, there's been times that we've been doing songs and I'm like, yeah, this is interesting to us to play it. But sometimes I have that criticism with something like jazz or something, which is I always wish that I could have the facility or the sophistication or whatever to play that kind of stuff. But also I kind of can't stand listening to most of it. It's like, except for it's like some of the classic stuff. So it's like this whole thing of it's yeah. There's definitely sometimes when we delve into stuff that is like it's funner to do than it is to listen to, and
Yeah.
that's that. And if we kind of come to that realization around it, then we're like, yeah, maybe this isn't the best thing. It's like this is really fun to do, but this is like the audience might be sitting there going like, all right, okay, okay. Uh, Waiting for it to get to change or to do a different thing or whatever it might be. So it's without being too much kind of like pandering to an audience kind of thing. It's like we're just trying to really, I don't know. It's yeah, we're just doing the best we can with what we've got, and some of these songs is just like I'm on some levels I'm trying to I'm getting a bit of fun out of like tricking Danny into playing some of these things that he might not, or something he might be like, this is so cringy. Like I'd rather not do this, but I'm like, it's kind of fun to kind of have turn Danny into like a pop musician on some level where, or to play a straight thing or a consistent thing for longer than but stuff changes definitely live. It's like, he's always messing with stuff and he's always kind of like going along with it, but still toying with us a little bit, and that's what's great about him is that, if you've ever seen him play drums, live, it's like he's putting on an entire show just in the way he's doing what he's doing back there. And
Yeah.
you might be like, oh, he's not doing anything. And then you've actually missed some
You've
him
been
do,
stuck, yeah.
whether he's like changes a symbol like mid song or some kind of thing, or like is just doing some kind of crazy. It's always entertaining and always like, yeah, it's always just, yeah, man. He's like, I don't know. It's funny. He keeps us endlessly entertained. And So, but yeah, but this definitely feels like a very an accessible album. I feel like, it's like if somebody was like, if this was their first kind of dipping the toe into like listening to this band, if they're aware of it or they care, I think it's a pretty welcoming thing, and it's like, for people that just like music to be played and not to kind of like be trying to be too clever or kind of messing around with them too much and toying with the listener and challenging the listener, it's not really doing that. It's kind of just like just doing like fat, kind of like chunky, like I don't know. To me, I feel like it's very satisfying kind of music to play and listen to, on some level. So I don't know what, but we're really excited for people to hear the whole album, all in its entirety, rather than just like these singles, these
Yeah.
little single things of just like, God, man, you're killing me with these singles. I want to hear just the album. I want to like
Yeah.
get into it and
Stop
live
teasing
that.
me.
Yeah, like live that album experience and then set it aside and then make it a judgment on the thing as a whole, instead of just these kind of like, hey,
Yeah.
yeah, how do you like me wearing these shoes? Okay, how do you like me wearing this shirt? And then it's just like going like, what are we doing? Can we just like, yeah. But that's what these streaming things do now. It's like they just give you a little taste or a little teaser, and then it's like, yeah, in a perfect world, I wouldn't have released Bite Your Tongue or Every Time yet. I would have been like, I would have loved people just to hear that on an album, just go, holy shit, like this is cool or whatever, or this is crap, or, please don't ever do music again. I don't know. I'll be like, okay, I'll take that under consideration rather.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I would say, mate, being the first time I've spoken with you and listening to music, do keep doing music, do keep doing it again because
Thanks, man.
very enjoyable album, bro, and it will be available for the world on 25th of July. It's called Desole, and I can't recommend it to people that know the band because I don't either, but I liked it. So
Thanks so much, man.